Now, I know there will be new distributors on this in this meeting. I wish I could meet you personally. I'm sure the time will come when that can happen. But I just want to start off by welcoming all the new distributors that came into the team this past month, or even maybe in the new months. We were new distributors as far back as 1983. That's almost 40 years ago. Now, when we joined the business, I was in full-time church ministry. I never thought I'd be in business. The only reason why we were at all interested in what we saw in Neolife was that my salary wasn't enough. We had to have more money. And when we started, I never thought anything big could come of this. I never thought it would become my career eventually. I'm still involved in the church, but at my age, I would have been retired 10 years ago in any case. I'm just now not employed by the church anymore, but still very much involved, because over the years, Neolife has developed in something so big that it has become my career. And sometimes when people ask me, are you still in that? I say to them, yes, until the day I die. This has become my life. It's a lifestyle. It's more than just a business. Now, when one is new in the business, you don't necessarily see that or realize that or even believe that. But what worked in our favor is that we just stayed there and we stayed involved, went to conventions, even when I couldn't afford to do that, went to training, listened to a lot of tapes, read a lot of books. And slowly but surely, the business grew on me and I grew in the business. And today I'm so blessed to have a business in many, many countries of the world. If I never worked a day in my life again, I would still have a very good income, a growing income. Now compare that with somebody who is in a job and who has to rely on a pension. By the time you get your pension, the pension is normally a lot less than the salary you had. And how to survive the rest of your life just on less money, that must be difficult. Because even as it is today with prices rising, life becomes so expensive that most people working for a fixed income find it hard to survive. I'm sure you know that, you have experience of that. And that is where Neolife comes in. And I want to encourage everybody who just joined the business or who joined a while ago and is still relatively new, that you make one decision at this stage, and that is to never, ever give up on Neolife. You see, it won't always be easy. You won't always have the results as quickly as you want, but it's a process where you grow. It's like a baby. When a baby is small, it needs the attention of parents and carers. But over years, the baby grows up to be an individual. And much the same happens in the business. We've got to grow up in the business. And the mistake some people make is before they've had time to grow, they give up. You know, it's like a child going to school the first year, and then at the end of the first year, expect to be ready for university. It can't work. You've got to go through a process of growing. And that is where the compensation plan of Neolife is so useful and so good, because it gives us the steps in the marketing plan, in the compensation plan, to grow in the business. Of course, we have to grow as we grow the business. But that's a topic for later or perhaps for another day. So next, I want to congratulate everybody who took a step in the past month, whether it be to manager senior manager, executive manager. I'm not aware of any new directors, or as directors taking your steps up into the world team. Congratulations to each of you, especially to the new managers and the new senior managers. You may think that's not much, but you know, they always say the longest journey starts with the first step. If you never became a manager, you could never become a president's team member or a diamond director in this business. So each step you take is an important step. But what you need to do is to realize the steps in the compensation plan is like a ladder. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever put a ladder against a wall and then climbed on the ladder and stood on the ladder for a long time. It becomes very uncomfortable. A ladder is not meant to stand on. A ladder is meant to climb. One step, next step, till you reach where the ladder is supposed to bring you. So in Neolife also, you then have to have the focused goal. It doesn't matter on what level you are. Your next goal is to reach the next level. Manager to senior manager, executive manager, director. And to do that, the higher you go, the more you need people who come into your business, who start loving the business, who start working the business, because we grow up to the extent that we help other people grow up. Now, if you have too few people, especially when you come to director, if you have too few people in your network, it's always going to be a push to even get to director. And then when you're director, just to maintain as a qualified director is always going to be difficult if you do not have enough people. So in taking your steps, you need to focus on two things. The first is to sponsor at least 3 people every month yourself. But the second thing, which is just as important, is it doesn't help to just sponsor those people and then forget about them and start working towards sponsoring your next 3 people. When you sponsor people, you become responsible for them. You've got to teach them. You've got to guide them. Now, say you sponsored 3 people in May, and you help each of them sponsor 3 people. Now you've got your 3 that you started with, but on the next level, there's already 9. Now, if you help the 3 you started to help the 3 they started, and they each sponsored 3, on the 3rd level, you now have 27 people. So you see, it's so important to not just sponsor people and hope they will do something. It's like putting a child in school where there's no teachers. The child is in the right environment, but there's nobody to teach the child. That doesn't work. That won't work. Now, it's one thing bringing people into Neolife. Just a second, please. It's one thing to bring people into Neolife, but there are no teachers. And that's where you are so fortunate that you are in the Lion King team, where you have a lot of teaching, you have a lot of support. But remember, you become the teacher to the people that you sponsor. The little you know, you must teach them. And then you learn a little bit more and you teach a little bit more. So the key to success in network marketing is to be teachers who teach people to be teachers. Teachers who teach people to be teachers, who do the same. And in that way, in time, your business will grow far beyond Busheni, far beyond Uganda, far beyond Africa. Because that is one advantage we Africans have. We all know people in other parts of the world. We have got Africans in just about every other country of the world. And through growing in the business, you can learn how to involve people who are, say, in America or wherever. And in that way, you build a business that outgrows you in a certain sense. I don't know probably more than 2% of the people in my business personally. I wish I could know everybody, but eventually it becomes impossible. But the good side of that is now you have a business growing without your personal input. I've had a lot of directors that I've developed in my business in the past year, world team members. Some are on their way to president's team member. And I'm not involved with most of them. And you know, that can happen for you as well. But then you must resolve to, as I said in the beginning, tell yourself, I'm in Neolife and I'm not leaving Neolife ever. Because if you commit to Neolife, you see, it's one thing to say, well, I'll try and see how it goes. That's not a commitment. My message to you is commit to Neolife. Give your life to Neolife. It doesn't mean that if you still have a job that you now not do your job properly or that you neglect other things you're doing. You can very much, excuse me, very much part-time commit to Neolife till you get to a stage where you can do it full-time. But the time you do put in, commit and make Neolife your new life. If that's your attitude, then come what may, 5, 10 years, 20 years from now, we still find you a new life. And you will look back and you would not be able to believe what has happened for you and what has happened to you. This is a wonderful opportunity. Excuse me. That is far bigger, promises far more, gives far more than you can imagine in your early stages in the business. So if I can then in closing just say that I'm so happy to have all of you as part of my family, because all of you in the Lion Kings team is part of my business, my team. And I'm so happy to have you. I'm proud of what you're doing. And I just wish for you that through your commitment, you will get the results that you are looking for sooner rather than later. But if the results come a bit later, that's no problem. If you keep sowing, you will reap. You know, when a farmer goes out to sow or plant, there's a season before they reap. There's also a season before we see the results that we look for, because there needs to be some growing before we can do the reaping. So, Dennis, your team, all the leaders there, everybody, keep up the good work. And I know great things are in store for you. Don't look at where you are physically in a small part of Uganda. Don't look at where you are as a person. Look at where you can be and where you want to be and go for it. And I know it's possible. In my years in Neolife, I've seen wonderful things happen for people. People who commit, people who do the work, people who stay, and people who are serious about developing the people they bring into the business. In other words, people who care for others, because the more we can help other people, the more it will help us. And now I'm seeing you there. I haven't seen you while I've been speaking. It's so nice to see you. Enjoy the rest of the day and enjoy the journey. And God bless all of you. Thank you, Justice.
much. Thank you so much, Mike. The team appreciates your putting of time to share with us. And as you can see, they are all excited. We can wave. Okay, thank you so much. And thanks for putting off time to share with us. Have a blessed afternoon.
Thank you, and you too. God bless. Bye.